Nah, never mind. How about mystery silver coin? Or attention Walmart shoppers, are you the person who wrecked the buffet? How about the Oakland airport name change? Or leaving a door open? Or piling up in ports? East Palestine derailment settlement? Or it's actually East Palestine derailment settlement. Fake it until you exfiltrate it. And a room with a view of roommates. That and more. Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and up there is
the sentient AI
from the future. Ooh, and won't tell me any lottery numbers. Hence, well, that back there is not a micro LED wall. Video
I don't
wall
have a sports
panels
almanac.
and whatever. Yeah, it's like $10,000 to do that size wall back there. Yeah. If you're out there and you want to donate, go for it. Hey, so today is April 9th, 2024. This is season 3, episode 100. Woo!
Are we doing anything special for the 100th day?
Yeah, we're doing the first article. The first article is over on the Wanted channel after pushing cloud storage TV provider to auto-delete 61-day-old DVR recordings. I love that because that's kind of what Twitch does to my videos.
Yeah, but at least Twitch says what it's going to do.
Yeah, it doesn't pump, hey, put all your stuff over here and then go, nah. So, yeah. Canadian telecom Bell Canada has been pushing its cloud-based DVR service for its 5 TV subscribers for years. While it's given customers advantages like the ability to view their recordings from more devices such as phones compared to other local DVR storage, users don't have as much control over the recordings as they thought they had. You know why? Because there is no physical media anymore. You don't have the ability
That's true,
to
it's dead.
Physical media is dead.
Dead.
So on May 1st, 5TV will automatically delete recordings stored on its cloud PVR, the personal video recorder offers, once the recordings hit 61 days of age, as confirmed by Canadian online newspaper Daily Hive. Yeah. So you can't exfiltrate these recordings, right? You can't get them. Wait, let me rephrase that. You can't download them. You can't store them somewhere else. They normally had a year to enjoy the recordings. Now you're
right. You better hurry up and watch all those recordings real fast.
304 days worth. Because you only have 61. Binge. Because the purge is coming. Sharon Harding over at arstechnica.com put this together. I guess it's like what is that where you binge and purge? Is it bulimia, right? So this is like digital bulimia. You're gonna have to just scarf it all down and then in just I don't know 3 weeks you're about to purge all of your.
You're going to get tired of all your shows if you're watching that many.
Yeah. So 5 apparently started alerting customers of the upcoming change this month, which means what? This month? 8 days ago? Wonderful. Bell Canada spokesperson Jacqueline Michelis or Micheli, I don't know how they pronounce it. Anyway, minimized the idea of disruption to customers by saying, how do you say it? I have to say it with an accent, but how do you do? I can't do a Canadian accent without it being too stereotypical. Anyway, the viewing of nearly all recordings takes place within 60 days, so there is minimal impact to customers. Except they went into it with the assumption the performance of 365 days, and now y'all are it's to save space. No, it's because you're greedy bastards. You want to save money. You know, build it out to support the infrastructure that you're offering. No, you're going to change. This is going to be the first of either retractions or, well, we'll give you more storage, but it's going to cost you.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, people sign up for the service thinking they're getting one thing, right? And then it's like a bait and switch.
Exactly. By the way, the updated website says not only is there a time limit, but there's a storage limit that even activates a time limit. So you went from having a year or 365 days worth of recording to now you have 320 hours worth of recordings. And if you go beyond that, it'll purge the oldest.
Wow.
Well, folks, you know what you need to do. Move on. Another user, Thornquills, called the news a deal breaker because they're, quote, paying $10 a month for cloud storage, and 2 months is too restrictive, in my opinion. Yeah, hell yeah. 5TV's policy change comes about 2 months after Bell Canada announced that it's also laying off 4,800 workers and selling 45 of its 103 radio stations. So this is called implosion, and I think 5TV is probably going to be sold off.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do real well among consumers either, although we all know that probably doesn't matter, right?
Correct. Yeah. They're going to drain the C-suite, and the investors are going to drain it. The stakeholders, the investors, are going to take as much out of this as possible to mitigate their losses, and then sell off tranches worth of value at the highest rate. All right, let's keep going though. I'm sorry, Canada. Come on. This next article is over on ohmTown Daily. Medieval silver coin mystery solved. I didn't know that there was a medieval coin mystery, but here we go. A team of experts analyzed coins minted between AD 660 and 820, casting new light on the economies of medieval Europe. It's pretty neat. This video has nothing to do with it. You know what? I'm going to refresh it and see. Maybe there's going to be something. Aristos Georgiou is the author. Researchers have unraveled... Oh, here, there is a little video. I don't think that's the one, though. So researchers have unraveled the mysterious origins of silver that was used to make coins during the medieval period in Europe. It's quite interesting because you can do a chemical analysis of the metal, and you can see, based on the impurities that are in it, where it was actually sourced from. Same thing happens with lead, copper, anything really. They find out what other chemical
You mean
components.
like exactly where it was from? Like which country or which region?
Which country, which region, sometimes even the mine, because the mines still remain. But yeah, pretty much down to the mine at times. So it says for a study published in the journal Antiquity, a team of experts analyzed the chemical makeup of 49 silver coins minted between AD 660 and AD 820 in what is now England, the Netherlands, Belgium, and northern France. Here are some of them. What's really interesting is they look just I guess a fidelity level away from modern coinage. It has the same type of stamping, embossment, you know. Some of it has a ridge around the edges, even knurling to give it body. It's pretty amazing how far we've come and how not. So it says that there were clear that it's big changes in the money supply starting around AD 670. This is when the silver penny became established, and the quantity of cash in circulation increased massively. Hey, inflation started a long time ago. So in the latest study, the authors investigated the 49 coins using a novel technique known as laser ablation analysis, which is not a novel technique. It has been around for a considerable amount of time. Basically, a laser hits the surface of the metal, turning a minuscule amount into a gas. A gas chromatograph analyzes the gas of its components and then displays a chart of what it is. And so...
Isn't ablation the same thing that is used to kind of clean surfaces, or no?
Yeah, a laser, like tattoo removal or rust removal from components. Yep. It's super high energy. It just blasts it for a split second. It off gases the surface level. It is almost, to the human eye, it would be invisible, but under a microscope, you'd be able to see the little ablation dot. But it says there were two things that we wanted to find out about this model, both of which tell us about the potential source of the silver. One is the elemental composition, what elements are in the coin, and the small amounts of things like gold and bismuth being most revealing. The second is lead isotopes, or atomic variants of lead, which vary between regions and mines. So there you go. And so they found that the older coins dating from AD 670 to 750 used silver mined in eastern Mediterranean region within the boundaries of what is then the Byzantine Empire. And this silver was likely melted down from valuable Byzantine silver objects. And it says that we were surprised by the result. We know of some surviving Byzantine silver from the Anglo-Saxon England, most famously from the Sutton Hoo there, which is a like ruins. Basically, Sutton Hoo is this ancient, very old, I should say, like community region. It's very well known. But far greater amounts of Byzantine silver have originally been held in Anglo-Saxon stores. So connections between Byzantium and Anglo-Saxon England were closer than most people think, apparently. There's more in this article, but the nuts and bolts of this is through modern techniques, we're finding out where the sources of the material is, but not necessarily where it was minted, who minted it, what community was there during this process, etc. But they do know that it might have come from one place or another. So they say, like for this one, this next paragraph, they say the source of the silver used to make the later coins dating AD 750 to 820 primarily appears to be freshly mined metal from, I guess, Miel, or Mel or Melee. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
I'm not sure.
From France. So, like I said earlier, this little laser ablation dot can lead to specific mines because we've done so much other fundamental research in discovering the sources of these metals used throughout history. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, this is really cool. I love using technology for things like this.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm not going to soapbox. Let's keep going. This next article is over in the Hedge Ideas channel. Walmart shoppers may be eligible for $500 after settlement. You know, I don't know. If you're a Walmart shopper, I think you deserve more than $500. Walmart shoppers who purchased weighted goods or bagged citrus in the U.S. or Puerto Rico from late 2018 through early 2024 may be eligible for a share of a $45 million settlement.
So are you thinking back to your grocery trip from late 2018 and going, I think I bought some oranges then?
I think those sons of bitches put their thumb on the scale. Huh, did I get sandbagged? It's like the Walmart.
With your bagged citrus?
It's like the Walmart teabagging. So the article is over at entrepreneur.com. And very subtle. Emily Rella over at entrepreneur.com put the article together. So in a lawsuit that was originally filed in 2022 and then amended in 2023, the retailers accused of 3 major deceptive practices: falsely inflating the weight of the products that are sold by weight and overcharging for said sold by weight products that were on clearance, and mislabeling the weight of bagged produce. Oh my God. So Walmart uses unfair and deceptive business practices to deceivingly, misleadingly, and unjustly pilfer, to Walmart's benefit, its customers' hard-earned grocery dollars, the lawsuit states. But this is what they got away with. So how much more really should it have been? Because if this is what they settled,
Then it must have been for probably quadruple that amount.
Yeah. So how to claim your share? You've got to have your receipts.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, did you keep a receipt from 6 years ago for something routine?
From Walmart? No. Give me a break. Yeah. So you can actually follow the link through ohmTown over to the
Now, if
article.
you did shop online, you might actually have your receipts accessible.
Maybe. No, I'm sure that they only keep it 90 days because they or
Well, I'm
60.
thinking 60 days, right?
Yeah, 61 days because it's powered by the Fibe
Twitch
TV
and
show.
Fibe.
Exactly. Let's keep going. This next article is over in Law Nerd, which is we've been aggregating stuff into Law Nerd because I'm into law. I'm not a lawyer. I play one in ohmTown. But at any rate, so it's supposed to be like a deeper dive of tech and law, but I haven't really formulated the full story around it. So, venue is not a continental breakfast. Judge forced to eat his words after Fifth Circuit blocks transfer. A federal judge in Texas who declared that venue is not a continental breakfast, allowing
I
litigants
guess like pick and choose what you want.
to pick and choose where to file a lawsuit. Apparently, didn't get away with it. So, Deborah Kassens-Weiss over at abajournal.com put the article together. And again, the title of this is Venue is Not a Continental Breakfast. Judge forced to eat his words after Fifth Circuit blocks transfer. A federal judge.
We have to comment though on the
picture,
the graphic here. I mean, that's pretty spectacular.
So it's what do they call the thing underneath the gavel?
I don't know.
Come on. I can't believe it. We know what the gavel is, but I don't know what the little thing is. Anyway, sitting next to the gavel. No, there has to be a thing for it. What is that called?
Yeah, but there's other products that are called gavel, so the problem is it's pulling that up instead of what an actual gavel is.
Risky click. So anyway, so let me throw that into the chat. Venue is not a continental breakfast. So it's over at abajournal.com. Deborah Kassens-Weiss is the author. The image is a gavel, and right next to it is a shopping cart. A little tiny shopping cart.
Right. It's not like a full-size one, and there happens to be a gavel nearby.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. So it almost speaks to me about the like senators and Congress critters having NASCAR fire suits on so that they can have patches.
Exactly.
Okay, so a federal judge in Texas who declared that venue is not a continental breakfast, allowing litigants to pick and choose where to file a lawsuit, should not have transferred a case to Washington, D.C., a federal appeals court has ruled. So they wanted to just transfer it out somewhere and have it taken care of somewhere, and they were told no, even though they had previously said that venue isn't a continental breakfast.
A little ironic there.
See, but I feel like there's context to why it should be, sent to another court. So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals at New Orleans ruled that U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman of the Northern District of Texas did not have jurisdiction to rule on venue because of a pending appeal, which challenges his refusal to act on a request for an immediate injunction in the case. So Pittman is a judge in the Northern District of Texas, a district favored by conservatives challenging Biden administration policies. Pittman had transferred a suit challenging an $8 cap on credit card late fees adopted by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Pittman reopened the case on Monday, according to law.com. The appeals court said its decision was exceedingly narrow and procedural, focused not on the correctness of the district court's transfer order, but rather on whether the court had jurisdiction to enter it. They're like, no, send it over here.
That's a riot.
So, and it's very rare that the legal issues that we talk about here in ohmTown have real world political weight to it, but this seems to be bound in our current political morass of them versus us politics, which is wild. Because you'd think that the people would be for the people, but it seems to be not necessarily that way. But I won't go into the soapbox of this. I will just move on. But you can actually follow the link through ohmTown and read more about the minutia of this case.
Did you like the name of the underlying source on this?
What was it?
Law Dork.
Oh, was that? Wait. Reuters, law.com, Law Dork. I have coverage of the April 5th decision in stories noted by how appealing here and here. So there's actually more sources that we need to take a look at. Okay, well, I'm going to just keep on moving. And the next article is over in Law Nerd as well. Potential Oakland airport name change is begging for people to get lost. It says definitely worth getting sued over. It's over at Above the Law. That is the whole breadth and depth of the snippet that we get from the source. So
it's a good snippet, though. Makes me want to read it.
Exactly, and that's why I chose to pull us over to it. Chris Williams from AboveTheLaw.com put the article together. The deck statement is what our little snippet is. So AboveTheLaw.com provides this as part of their news distribution. So some location names just make sense. It makes sense that the city of New York is part of the state of New York. Sometimes things aren't so simple. For example, guess which state Kansas City belongs to? Kansas would be reasonable, and you'd be right, kinda. You see, there is Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City probably want to go to is actually Kansas City, Missouri, and as it turns out, the confusion is deliberate. Kansas created a Kansas City with the intention of stealing valor from the more popular Kansas City, Missouri. Oakland looks to be setting up tourists to get duped just like Kansas from over a century ago. David Chu is willing to go to court to stop it. So apparently they want to call... How does this work? Fired off a letter to the Port of Oakland Commission threatening legal action if the port persisted in its plan to change the name of Oakland's airport to San Francisco Bay Oakland International Airport. God, this is horrible.
Isn't there already I think there already is a San Francisco International Airport.
Right.
So how many people would book to that one thinking they're getting the other?
See, but with all the Boeing stuff going on, I don't think you want to be associated with the San Francisco maintenance problem.
That's
what
true.
I think is a San Francisco maintenance problem. Traveling internationally is hard enough without Oakland pulling a Kansas City. If the goal was to attract people, they'd probably be better off figuring out a way to cut costs that benefit customers, rather than a name change that will have customer service profusely apologizing for all the foreseeable, that's the thing, foreseeable mix-ups and ruined itineraries. But buyer beware, buyer beware.
Exactly.
Yeah, if left unchecked, the name change could lead to several mishaps, confused travelers, packages going to the wrong place, trademark violations. The San Francisco Bay Oakland International Airport.
Right. Wouldn't that be funny if they trademarked that?
They throw a "the" on there. We're not the San Francisco International Airport. We're the San Francisco Bay Oakland International Airport. Yeah, this is horrible. But here we are. The next article is over in the Mobile channel. Here's what happens when a microwave is on with the door open. You get a headache. It's like staring into an eclipse. People have always been dubious about...
You'll be Googling, why do my eyes hurt?
Apparently it was very popular. Yeah, I don't know. It's because you're staring into the sun. Should run for president. So here's what happens when a microwave is on with the door open. People have always been dubious about the safety of microwave ovens. Little life pro tip here. If your device phone, computer, tablet, whatever, suddenly loses its connection to your Wi-Fi, and you're standing next to your microwave while it's on, get a new microwave, because there isn't enough shielding, and it operates at 2.4 gigahertz, and it's blocking, it's disrupting your cell signal or your Wi-Fi signal. And upgrade your Wi-Fi, because you're not on 5 or 6, Wi-Fi 6. Now even 7 is coming out, so yeesh, you're quite a few generations back. Anyway,
right.
The author of this over at Quartz came across a microwave that kept whirring and spinning even when the door was wide open. It simply wouldn't turn off. The microwave was promptly kicked to the curb, but started to wonder, should you be concerned? Yes, absolutely. So Maxwell Zeff over at QZ.com, but from Gizmodo, put this article together. And the deck statement says, people have feared microwave ovens since their meteoric rise. How about energetic rise in the 1970s? But they're largely fine as long as your face isn't pressed against them. Yeah, if you don't stick your head in it while it's open. But if it isn't open and you run it, if it is open and it's running, you should probably be worried.
How does that even work? I know, I didn't think that was possible.
That little latch does more than just lock down the door. It allows activation. So if the safety mechanism isn't in place, it can run. And they're pretty simple, by the way, but they're immensely dangerous. Don't twiddle around inside them. When they go bad, it can be really bad. Like, the microwave energy can be focused into the glass or off-centered somewhere where it can cause harm. So what would happen? So common knowledge would have you believe that you should always be concerned for your safety around even working microwave ovens. Many still stray from them today, fearful that microwave ovens are leaching radiation into us and our food. It's not really true. Not radiation per se, but it is emitting radiation, but it's microwave radiation, and it's imparting energy into water. That's it. Moisture in the material that you have in the microwave becomes superheated, and that's why when you eat something, sometimes you're basically chewing on a car tire, and it's because all the moisture has been removed, right, and it's literally vulcanized a little bit. So it says they're probably fine, according to Robert Delaval, the principal engineer for cooking appliances at UL Solutions. He's been testing the safety of appliances for 40 years. Even the seriously malfunctioning microwave oven, there's minimal risk of any human injury. If your microwave is operating with the door open, that's definitely an unsafe condition. However, as you step away from the microwave oven, those radiation levels decrease exponentially. Yeah, it's built to focus energy in that box.
You know who I think would be a good test of whether you're getting exposed to anything harmful? Is the person that's been testing this for decades.
Yeah, really. So you won't get cooked, but it does have an effect. Delville notes that people have misconceptions about the radiation involved in microwaves. Microwaves have lower energy than more harmful ionized radiation, such as gamma or X-rays, according to the CDC. I don't know where all they're going to go with this. But there's always been people that are kind of wingnut, that don't understand the technology, and call out that it's all poo-poo, horrible stuff, you shouldn't be doing, shouldn't be using, etc. Sometimes they're right.
Gas stoves.
Oh yeah. Well, and gas stoves, the reason why you're being told you shouldn't have a gas stove is because it has imperfect combustion. So some of the actual gas is leaking from it burning. It's not wiping it out entirely, and converting it to heat. It's actually still a gas, and it's, essentially leaking out onto your floor. You can't see it, but your kids, you, and your pets are inhaling it. It is bad over the long haul. Will you notice it? Not necessarily, but a few IQ points later, you might. So the 5 milliwatt standard still exists today, but many independent safety testers of microwave ovens, such as UL Solutions, test to ensure leakage of popular microwave ovens doesn't exceed 1 milliwatt. The technology has become increasingly safe, but fears of 1970s persist today. But a focused microwave beam can actually still cause harm. That's why there's a stir rod up in the ceiling of the thing to actually force the microwave energy to bounce around inside this secure compartment. So I don't know if they address all of that in here, but you really shouldn't mess around with... it's really interesting. You shouldn't really mess around with a damaged microwave oven. Don't open it. Just get rid of it. It's very inexpensive to replace nowadays.
Don't leave it inside if it's smoking.
That comes from experience, folks. I had a microwave that was cherished because it was one of the few that still had 1300 watts of power.
Extra rays.
And after an extraordinary amount of time cooking something, I think it was something like 20 minutes of cook time, the next time it was used, it basically said, no, I'm just not going to do it, and started making a weird noise and smoking. And when your microwave smokes, that means all of the magic has been released and you need to remove it from the premises. What's really funny about this is they completely pivot at the end of this article. There's more evidence around other concerns with microwaves. You probably shouldn't microwave in plastic, according to Wired, which notes that nanoplastics can leach into your food when microwaved. Yay. Oh,
this is definitely sponsored by the microwave industry.
We are not going to get sponsored by
Microwaves Are Us.
Yeah, really. What is that? Like the microwave industrial complex. There we go. That was so hard for me to say. I don't know why. All right, let's keep going. Our next article is over in the Mobile channel. Cars are piling up at European ports at an alarming rate. You know what you should do? Lower the price and get rid of them. Imported vehicles are seriously piling up at European ports, turning them into car parks. Automakers are distributors. What? Automakers are distributors? Maybe automakers or distributors are struggling with a slowdown. Or no, that's an and. That should be and. There's a typo in the aggregation. It's not my fault. Automakers and distributors are struggling with a slowdown in car sales, as well as logistical bottlenecks that make it hard to alleviate the buildup of new unsold vehicles. Lower the price. They'll move fast. Andy Kalmowitz from Jalopnik put the article together, and it's over at qz.com, but you can follow the link through ohmTown. It'll take you right to it. They say, see, the typo is still there. So
I don't know what that's about.
So the source is actually from Financial Times, but it was aggregated over at Jalopnik and then published at qz.com, which is all, I think they're all in bed together, Jalopnik and qz.com. But Financial Times has this massive quote. Port and car industry executives pointed to a pileup of Chinese electric cars as one of the leading causes of the problem, with some companies booking shipping delivery slots without ordering onward transportation. In some instances, or other instances, car makers in general are struggling to order trucks because the lack of drivers and equipment to move the vehicles on. So they're delivering them, but they have no final home, so they're treating it as a car park. To get it out of country, I suspect that you could mark it as delivered if it's no longer there. It's kind of like pumping up the numbers for that particular quarter.
Right.
Call it a delivery because it's out of the country. Qui Dongshu, the Secretary General of the China Passenger Car Association, told FT, Financial Times, that inland shipping into European markets is proving difficult for Chinese EV market makers. I would be worried about everything associated with that, but okay. So many Chinese automakers are reportedly building teams in Europe from scratch and dealing with real-world logistical challenges. They've also struggled to find haulage companies to prioritize their vehicles since they're newcomers in the market. I don't know. Pay well, and they'll move your stuff. It's pretty much what that's all about.
That's really odd.
Why does that look like?
That's the first time we're hearing pileups like that. Usually it's because there isn't shipping available, or the shipping delays, or things like that.
That looks like an old school Dodge Nitro. Weird. Anyway, let's keep on going though. We might get through this show a lot sooner. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Norfolk Southern settles East Palestine derailment lawsuit for $600 million. So there have been people that have been talking online about the fact that we've basically abandoned East Palestine because it's out of the news cycle and whatnot. But there have been lawsuits and there have been actions still taking place in trying to recover the Superfund site that is all of their waterway and the local community. Norfolk Southern Railroad will settle a lawsuit over the 2023 derailment of a train carrying toxic chemicals in East Palestine, Ohio for $600 million, the company confirmed Tuesday morning. The settlement, which might still be approved by the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, will cover uses ranging from property restoration and business losses to medical costs. The company said the settlement does not cover an admission of wrongdoing. If approved by the court, the agreement will resolve all class action claims within a 20-mile radius of the derailment, and for those residents who choose to not partake in the class action, which that's going to be rough. Zach Budrick over at The Hill put the article together, and let's see if it says anything else here. It says, while no one was injured or killed by the derailment, residents of the town have expressed concerns about lingering threats to the environment that may take years to emerge. People were sick, considerably sick, and I think that it is definitely the weird thing that I get about this kind of stuff is there isn't enough money in the world to make me feel good about the damage done to my body. I persist in this frame, so $600 million doesn't necessarily make me whole if I've lost 20 years of my existence.
I agree. I mean, I think this settlement sounds really low for everything we know about what happened. I mean, there's extreme environmental damage. Animals were killed, humans were harmed, the waterways are,
poisoned,
perhaps irreparably polluted. Like, there's just so many issues, and this doesn't even seem to come close to what is needed, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting. They say here earlier this year, National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Homendy testified at a U.S. Senate hearing that a controlled burn at the site that sent a plume of flame into the air was unnecessary. And they said that it was stabilized well before the vent and burn, many hours before, Homendy said in March. So they didn't need to actually do that vent. They should have cleaned it up. Because there wasn't a chance, apparently, of it actually exploding, and they could have used chemicals to actually block it from detonation, as far as my understanding of it. But I am not in the EPA, and I'm also not the one that's managing a multi-billion-dollar company. So the Environmental Protection Agency invoked a federal law that requires Norfolk Southern to cover all cleanup costs related to the crash. The company has already spent more than $1.1 billion on the cleanup process with NTSB, which the NTSB has blamed on the overheating of a faulty wheel bearing. And all of that stems from the fact that they've already talked about it historically. They aren't maintaining the vehicles. They're not maintaining the tracks well enough. They're putting a skeleton crew on watch of the trains, running it with one person when there should be two or three, etc., etc. And the trains are so big that if there's a problem, by the time the person who needs to go and investigate the problem gets to the problem, the train has already gone past some checkpoint or issue, and then they have to run back to the seat that they're supposed to have their butt in. Yeah, all of this is just hot mess, dumpster fire. But let's keep going. Go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see, because I think with people who were excluded from the class, like, it'll just be interesting to see if there's more activity.
Yeah, the information that is used in the settlement of the class can be used in a following lawsuit, because some of the people who may have bowed out may have been harmed to a greater degree, and those special one-off suits are handled with kid gloves. They're handled in a way where $600 million may go to just that one person because so much damage has been done. Because it could be
exactly
in perpetuity. They could be so out of commission that just imagine something happens to you as a human being, you listening to this show. Let's assume something happens to you. You're young enough where you could say, well, I wanted a family, but now you can't have it because of something. And it's something attributable to, let's say, the train wreck. How much is it worth to you that you can no longer have a family? Right? That you can no longer follow your dream.
There's not a price you can probably put on those kind of things.
Right?
But then it's going to be a high number if you can put a price.
Right. But then in walks the sociopaths that say, behind closed doors, without anybody listening, the quiet parts, well, they, like a police officer had said in a recording, that a person was of limited value. So ... So real trash. Anyway, let's keep moving. Just a little hit of reality there, folks. So the next article is over on ohmTown Daily. Suspected smugglers were caught trying to hide $10 million of gold by painting it silver and disguising it as machinery on a cargo plane. These guys.
I feel like, what is going on with like the metal theft, right? We saw the thing where there were rocks instead of nickel, I think it was.
Multiples of that, yeah. Copper, what was it?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely been more than one of these.
Yeah, somebody stole a tower
right.
to get the copper.
There were 2 tower thefts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We don't really know the reason for the other one.
Yeah. People stealing.
Somebody stole like copper
cables
off of a bridge.
Yeah. It's just weird. People just go to such great extents. But this one is kind of amazing. So the suspected gold was molded and camouflaged as air compressor parts. This is amazing. They say that it's the largest gold smuggling case. This is like Ocean's 11 too. It was the largest gold smuggling case on record in terms of value. A 31-year-old man was arrested in connection with the case. 146 kilograms of suspected gold on board a freight plane headed for Japan. Hong Kong customs officials had seized 146 kilograms of suspected gold worth more than $10 million on board a freight plane. So I wonder how they discovered it. Like, wait, this thing couldn't possibly have weighed this amount, because if it was iron
that might
steel,
be the issue, right? Like, what if it was the whatever the thing that it looked like?
Was it air compressor parts?
Yeah, maybe they thought it should weigh, 100 pounds, and it actually weighed.
Yeah. It was I don't know. Camouflaged as air compressor parts, which, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, those really do. I mean,
that's pretty involved.
That's pretty amazing. So the article is over at businessinsider.com, and it's Polly Thompson that is the author of it. And it says here, The precious metal was discovered on March 27th, while officials at Hong Kong International Airport examined 2 air compressors scheduled to be shipped by air freight to Japan. So I suspect that they were heavier than they thought that they were, or what they should have been, because it says cast iron or aluminum. But during an X-ray of the air compressors, officials discovered that the gold had been carefully molded and concealed in the integral parts of the machinery. The gold parts had been painted silver to match the machine parts. So why did they detect that? I mean,
I don't know why that would have shown up in an X-ray.
Maybe its density would have been different, and so...
Yeah, like maybe you could see certain parts of it distinguishable from the rest of it. Like maybe they thought it was like a security concern or something, and then they inspected it further.
Yeah, and then they scratch it, and you see little gold flakes, like, oh, wait, this is paint. So they would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for that damn X-ray.
Nice Scooby-Doo reference.
They got Scooby-Dooed. Anyone found guilty of importing or exporting unmanifested cargo could be fined up to $2 million and imprisoned for up to 7. So what they should do is just go, okay, fine. I'm declaring it now. Take $2 million. See ya. Because they can still get to Japan with $8 million worth of gold.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what kind of deterrent is that?
Oh, they're saying that smugglers could have evaded about $8.4 million in taxes if the precious metal had successfully been smuggled into the country.
Wow. Okay, they're not disincentivizing, but they are promoting it.
Yeah, so 1 million. Okay, so this was valued at 10 million US dollars. They would have been fined 2 million if they would have declared it, like trying to get it out, right? And they would have avoided 1 million in taxes if they had just declared it. So what they really should do right now is just go, okay, here's the taxes, 1 million US dollars, and here's my fine, $2 million. I'll leave the country with my gold, and I'll still have $7 million.
I'm not sure that's going to work like that, but...
Come on. I mean, if I can manipulate certain numbers on both sides of my loan application or my purchase, then obviously there's no harm, right? Because everybody's getting paid eventually, right?
Right, it's one of those victimless crimes, right? Which I always think is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, there's so many victimless crimes. This next article and the last one for today, and wow, we like sprinted through the show, is over in ohmTown Daily. People pay up to $2,700 a month to live with 27 roommates in a New York City townhouse. Let's take a look inside. What? Co-living company Cohabs has 14 homes in New York, where people rent rooms and share common spaces. The New York City locations are occupied by Gen Zers and millennials and can house up to 34 people. Let's see inside Harlem House, where members pay up to $2,700 a month, but say the perks are worth it. It's a room with a room full of roommates. Maria Nguyen is the author of this article over at businessinsider.com. I love Business Insider. I actually have an account with them because I value the news that they generate. So I think you should too if you're interested in neat stories where they have great photography.
Yeah, I was going to say they always have tailored photography, which is nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Unlike like Newsweek.
Other sources.
I'm sorry. Yeah, other sources. I better not name names. I'm saying the quiet parts out loud. So check this out. Having roommates isn't uncommon in Manhattan. Yeah, sure. Where the median rent is $42.30 a month.
Which is absolutely ridiculous, especially considering the space in Manhattan, right? You're probably getting like maybe 100 square feet or something for that.
Yeah, so let's live with up to 28 other people in a bigger place, I suppose, where it's called co-living. That's exactly what Cohabs, a Belgian-founded company specializing in co-living, offers. So you can live with a shared space of up to 28 other people in it. Shorthand for communal living, co-living typically involves individuals paying less rent and signing short-term leases to live in a fully furnished home with 5 or more other people. Dear God.
Do you think this is like that I think it was in San Francisco, but there was the thing with like the loft style, maybe not loft, but like
No, it is that.
coffin hotel kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. We'll see when we see the actual pictures. Oh my goodness. So co-living spaces have increased in popularity recently. It's not by choice. I can almost guarantee that.
Right. Everybody is definitely going, you know what? I really want to live with a gazillion strangers here.
Yep.
It's because nobody can afford to live anywhere.
Yeah, because corporate. Never mind. Anyway, We Live buildings contain dorm-like apartments with supplementary communal areas like lounges and larger kitchens to encourage a sense of community. Once touted as residential utopia, the grand promise of what We Live could have been came crashing down when its parent company went public in 2019. Where We Live failed. Other co-living companies have succeeded besides Cohabs. Others operating in the U.S. include Common, Habit, and Outsite. So, bigger kitchens. It looks like a bar, actually, bar setting.
Yeah, that's kind of odd because it's supposed to be residential, but doesn't really look like that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a bar, coffee shop type of communal. It really does look like a really big bar. But apparently it has units attached to it where you can live in kind of like a hostel.
A hostile hostel, yes. Well stated.
As of April, Cohab's location in Harlem is one of the biggest in the U.S. The building was dilapidated for years until Cohab's bought and renovated it, Clark said. Now the building is home to 28 adults ranging in age from 23 to 36. This is really interesting. So one of my degrees is paralegal, pre-law. And one of the cases that we discussed was the fact that a community like this, a community living area was spun up, and the people in the area sued to shut it down because it would have changed the nature of the community. And around these, the case said that violence increases, criminal activity increases because of the population density within this space. It doesn't have as much, lack of a better term, they don't have as much skin in the game. They can do whatever they need to do, whatever they want to do, and then they're going to leave anyway because they're not actual owners. And so they used, and I can't remember the law, but they used a particular law to try and shut it down because the community wasn't zoned for this. I assume that this has been zoned for this commercial property kind of practice. So rent for a room at Cohab's Harlem house ranges from $1,700 a month to $2,700 a month. So the $1,700 a month is 74 to 160 square feet and goes up to $2,700 a month for a room that's 200 square feet. So I guess depending on where it is, your room
is ridiculous.
$1,700 for 74 square feet. Yeah. So, but I guess if you're making $10,000 a month because you're working somewhere and you're, making some change, $1,700 a month is actually, kind of worth it.
Right. Probably. Yeah, maybe.
It's 1/5 of your income.
Barely move in there.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so they say Cohab's member Elisa, who asked to be referred by her first name only for privacy reasons, told Business Insider that critics don't see how she and her housemates are paying for more than square footage, and you're paying for everything, particularly if you get along with everybody. And it is exactly who I thought would be living there. Elisa is a 30-year-old business developer at a startup. Pays around $2,000 a month for 135 square feet of room in other Cohab's house in Harlem. She often stops by other Cohab locations, including the bigger Harlem one, to visit friends. So everybody is kind of living in this more communal space, and there's community there. So yeah, meanwhile, Clark said the blowback Cohabs received on social media comes down to a lack of knowledge from those unfamiliar with the concept and other facilities residents can access. Yeah, to me, I would say that you get other amenities. It's basically like a hostel. God dog, man. The thing says common areas include large ground floor kitchen, a gym, 3 outdoor decks. And again, there are people that are of like mind that might actually respect each other and cohabitate instead of, pay an exorbitant price for an apartment and nobody talks, or, it takes longer to actually get to know people.
Right. I mean, in concept, they're getting a lot more space than they would be without this type of living arrangement because of the high prices. I say in concept because it depends on, I guess, the other occupants. Are they using the communal spaces when you want to be, etc.?
Yeah. And they kind of hint at the kind of dilemma where it says it's hard to find something that all 28 roommates like to watch, as well as organize a time that everyone's free. But Elisa said at least a dozen people have managed to fit for past screenings. So you find something to watch and you sit down. And if you're into it, then you're into it. And if you're not, then you go somewhere else. And so they have these little units which act as distinct apartments. You go close your door and you're done. Between 4 and 6 people live in a single unit, which is divided into several bedrooms, a lounge, a kitchen. This is basically college dorm, like higher end college dorm, European college dorm, actually, because there's like rooms, and then off front there's like a center meeting room where everybody can converge from time to time, but everybody goes off into their individual sleeping units. Typical roommate squabbles about food and cleanliness are surprisingly rare, Elisa said, probably because they're older, as the homes are cleaned professionally once a week, and because residents have their own designated shelves and fridges and pantries. So I suspect that it's because they're older, and they're paying so much that there's a lot of responsibility that's imparted here. So I don't know. Seems pretty neat. It wouldn't be for me, I don't think, unless I knew that I was going to be making amazing amounts of money during my stay. But hey, maybe you'll meet somebody in the... It says bathrooms are never shared by more than 3 residents. Hell no. But hey, like I said, maybe you'll meet that special someone. Because you'll come out of the shower and that dude's going to be sitting there. How you doing? Right? He's sitting there, and right there's your shower.
Right. I mean, it looks like it's like looking at the way they did their photos. That's funny.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go through all of this. The article is actually pretty long. I mean, it has other people's interactions and experiences. But if you do it right and you're not particularly a tool, you'll get along fine with everybody. And I'm sure that the community can find a way to encourage somebody who really doesn't fit to just go to hell, like any clique-like group. So hey, okay, anyway, that's it for today. I think we've got all 10 articles posted in the VOD. They'll be in the show notes. It'll be posted either later tonight or tomorrow, so go and check it out over on Apple iTunes and on YouTube and wherever you can catch pods. But be sure to like over on YouTube. That's how we get discovered. That's how we get found over on Apple. You have to give us a review. You have to tell some friends. There's almost zero discoverability here on Twitch, but this is where I really like talking about the articles live with people that are in chat. So come on over. And there's also Discord and Patreon and TikTok and there's a thing called Odyssey, but it still hasn't aggregated the YouTube channel. So let's go back.
Come on, Odyssey.
And their last email to me was, it's probably still aggregating it. And I'm like, yeah, no. I've got 900 videos over there. We've been doing this for 2 years and 4 months. And no. Anyway, that's it for today. I would refresh, but I don't know what the quality of the links are because we try to avoid politics stuff. But anyway, I'll do it. All right, I'll do it. So we're always aggregating a little bit of news. There's never a full article. It always looks kind of like this, a small snippet that's provided by the source. And then we talk about it, add some of our own anecdote, maybe even facts that are backed by additional links to science and other articles, journals, etc. But ohmTown.com is all news, no noise. We don't actually have user submitted information itself. It's users, citizens of ohmTown.com can provide links to source information. We will create the link into ohmTown from the source. But then you can write comments. Once you become a citizen, you can just reply. And ta-da! There's a whole lot more behind, I guess, the logo. So come on down.
I thought you were going to say like behind the curtain, like Wizard of Oz or something.
Yeah, but he turned out to not actually be anything more than...
Well, that's true.
It's not really a wizard. I really am a mayor. The mayor of a fictional town... stuck in the wires of the internet. Mayor Watt. And the sentient AI up above me, who's going to say bye, and then we're going to close out the show.
Bye-bye.
I'm off to paint my gold bullion.